Hello students, today we are going to learn about Human Genome Project, that is HGP. Now, by our knowledge of what we have learned in this sixth chapter, molecular basis of inheritance, till now, we know that all genetic information is present on DNA, and we are what we are because of this genetic information, because everybody is unique, and everybody is having the xenotypes is all because of the bases which are present on the DNA. So the quest was there in the scientists to know about this sequence of the DNA on all the chromosomes of our body, human body. So in every human cell, there are 23 pairs of chromosomes. 22 are autosomes, chromosome X and Y. Now, in females, we are having both X, and in males, we are total. If you want to know about the complete sequence on each and every chromosome of ours, that is going to solve many mysteries of us. So that project was started in 1990, and when it was started, everybody was very curious to know that what are the sequence of the base pairs on our DNA, and these can be solved if we know the base pairing, the sequence of bases on our DNA fragment. And it is a successful project. It was completed in 2003, except the chromosome number 1, which where the sequences were known were completed in May 2006. And now, today, as of today, we know each and every base sequence on our all chromosomes, 24 chromosomes, 22 autosomes. So, number one, we are having two chromosomes, homologous chromosomes, so 22, and then X and Y. So, 24 chromosomes of human cell. Now we know the base sequence in all chromosomes, and the DNA, the long DNA. We have unfolded this mystery, and now this project is with us, which is called Human Genome Project. Now, this Human Genome Project was joint venture of US Department of Energy and National Institute of Health, and it was later joined by Wellcome Trust of UK. It was launched in 1990 and it was completed in 2003. Now, what was the purpose of this project? It was to determine the complete DNA sequence in humans. So DNA, what is DNA? As we know now, that DNA is the storehouse of genetic information, and determining its sequence of base pairs can solve many medical, agricultural, environmental, and evolutionary mysteries. Because if we know the sequence, we can solve many mysteries. We can correct many genetic disorders. We can medically, it can help us a lot. Agriculturally, it can help us a lot. So this knowledge of this genome is going to help us in a various fields, and this genome is complete now, and our genome ready for us by there are American companies. If you send your sample to them, they will send you the complete genome of yours. So this is the advancement in the field of genetics by this mega project of Human Genome. Now, this Human Genome project was not possible without the knowledge of computer, because only genetics, only biology cannot have this much of that data with it. So you need the computer hand for this. So human genome, that is the genome, refers to the totality of genes that are present in a human being, it contains 3 into 10 raised to the power 9 base pairs. And at that time, when this project was started, the cost of sequencing one base pair was 3 US dollar. 3 US dollar was the cost to sequence one base pair. So the cost of sequencing, if you calculate this 3 into 10 raised to the power 10 raised to the power 9 base pairs into 3 was 9 billion US dollars. So it was a mega project. That's why it is called a mega project. Enormous sequence data so generated would have required 3,300 books. Suppose we want to write everything on pages in the text form, then it would have required 3,300 books, each book containing 1,000 pages for human genome. So you can understand how many books you will be having for this one genome, human genome. So hence for storing, retrieving means whenever you want the information, you can go to the information, and analyzing this enormous data, a new branch of biology has been developed, which is known as bioinformatics. So the bioinformatics was the branch of biology that helped in storing, retrieving, and analysis of this enormous data. Genomes of many non-human. With the human genome, now we are having many non-human genomes also, such as we are having genome of bacteria, we are having genome of yeast, we are having genome of Canorhabditis elegans. This is a nematode. Then we are having Drosophila. Then in plants we are having rice genome. Then we are having Arabidopsis genome. So many non-human genome are also being decoded, and we are having many these all genomes now after the human genome project. Now, what are the methods? What methods were adopted by the geneticists, by the scientists to identify the genes? Because basically, what is genome? Genome is the sequence of bases on DNA. So what are the methods to identify? Because DNA is a long fragment. So how can we identify the genes? So two methods were adopted to identify these genes. First was EST, that is expressed sequence genes, expressed sequence tags. Now, what is expressed? Expressed is the segment, the portion of the DNA which is expressing, or the genes which are expressing themselves. So this is called expressed sequence tags and sequence annotation. So this was the first method. And expressed sequence tags, as the name suggests, refers to the part of DNA that is expressed. That means expressed means the gene is expressing itself. Gene is being transcribed, or the DNA is being, that segment of the DNA has been transcribed as messenger RNA, and this messenger RNA is being further translated into proteins. That means they are expressing, the gene is expressing. So it basically focuses on the sequencing the part denoting a gene. The portions which are not expressing, or which are not coding for any protein, those portions were left in this method. The second method to identify the genes was annotation. Now, in this method, the entire genome, the coding portion as well as not coding portion, both the coding and non-coding, both were sequenced, and later on function is assigned to each region in the genome. That means first the whole segment of the DNA was sequenced, and after this sequence, on the overlapping of the sequences or other methods, the function was assigned, and each region was that what bases are present at what places. Now, genome sequencing. How to sequence the genome? You cannot do the sequencing for the long strand of DNA. So first of all, for genome sequencing, DNA from the cell is isolated. Now, how can you isolate the DNA from the cell? DNA is present inside the cell. So first you have to use the enzyme to remove the cell wall, cell membrane, whatever is the case. If it is a plant cell, you have to remove the cell wall, cell membrane. If it is an animal cell, then you have to remove the animal cell membrane. So once the cell membrane, the nuclear membrane, all these things have to be removed, have to be separated, have to be dissolved by enzymes. And once you have dissolved everything, then the DNA is left. And that DNA can be isolated by using chilled ethanol. So that chilled ethanol is used, so all fragments of DNA can be separated. So this is the method, this is the practical in your syllabus as well. Schooling is done, and the DNA is separated from the cells using the enzymes. Now this DNA which is being isolated, then it has to be cut into smaller sizes, small fragments. And these small fragments, these fragments are cloned. How you can clone it? You have to get multiple copies of those small fragments, and that can be done by using suitable host and using vector will take the fragment of the DNA into the host, and inside the host it will get incorporated with the host DNA, and it will multiply into very many copies. And this cloned fragments amplify in the host. This closed these clone fragments, they amplify in the host, because the fragment of the DNA is incorporated with the genome of the host, and then when the genome of the DNA of that host is multiplying, so this also will get multiplied. So this amplification facilitates an easy sequencing. So we have to have cloning, done, and cloning gives us many copy numbers, many replications of these DNA fragments, so that we can facilitate an easy sequencing. Now, common vectors which are used are bacterial artificial chromosome, it is called BAC, and yeast artificial chromosome, it is called YAC. So these are the two common vectors which were used for taking the DNA fragment, the small fragments of DNA into the host. And what were the hosts? The common hosts were bacteria and yeast. So bacteria and yeast were the host, and the bacterial artificial chromosome was the vector to take the DNA fragment into the bacteria. The yeast artificial chromosome was the vector to take the DNA segment into the yeast. Now, inside these hosts, the segment multiplied, and then it formed many clones. Now, automated sequences are used to sequence these smaller fragments. Now, there was a scientist, Sanger. This Sanger has done the sequencing of amino acids also in the proteins. And what his method was that how to automate the sequences from using these smaller fragments. So using these smaller fragments, the automated sequences are used, and these sequences of these smaller fragments were made. The sequences so obtained are arranged on overlapping regions within them. What is overlapping regions? Means there were certain regions which were overlapping with each other, and these regions they were arranged. All sequences were arranged as per the overlapping regions. Overlapping regions means they were coming overlapping with each other, and this is called alignment. Now, alignment of the sequence is also done automatically by computer programs. So these all things are are done by the computers. The human hand cannot do all these things. So these all things were done by computer programs. And then these sequences are annotated and assigned to each chromosome. Then these sequences are annotated. The sequence was formed and they assigned to each which sequence belongs to which chromosome, and these all things were done. So these sequences were annotated and assigned to each chromosome. Now, preparation of genetic and physical maps on genome. For this, two methods were used: restriction polymorphism and microsatellites. Now, restriction polymorphism is the specialized enzyme. There are special enzymes which are called restriction endonucleases. Now, these restriction endonucleases are the special enzymes. These enzymes are endonucleases, and these are used to cut the genome at specialized sites. These are also called molecular scissors, because like we cut cloth or anything with the scissor. Similarly, these are the specialized enzyme which can cut the DNA, which can cut the genome at specialized sites, and these are called restriction endonucleases recognition sites. So these are the special sites from where we can cut the genomes, and then maps are prepared based on it. The second method for making the maps is microsatellites. What are microsatellites? Microsatellites are the repetitive DNA sequence. The sequence is repeating again and again. For example, ACGT, ACGT, ACGT. So this is repetition. And when this repetition is taking place, these repetitive DNA sequences are called microsatellites, and they also help in the mapping of the genome. Now, what are the observations? What are the observations which we have got from the Human Genome Project? Now, Human Genome Project contains 3 into 10 raised to the power 9, that is 3,164.7 million nucleotide bases. An average gene consists of 3,000 bases. One gene is consisting of 3,000 bases. However, the size of genes vary. Some are having less number of bases, some are having more number of bases. The largest gene is dystrophin. Dystrophin is the gene which is largest gene, and this gene is having 2.4 million bases in it. Can you imagine? One gene consisting of 2.4 million bases. Now, total number of genes in human genome are 30,000 genes. So, number of genes 30,000. Average gene is consisting of 3,000 bases. Now, over 50% of the discovered genes have unknown functions. That means we don't know what are the functions of these genes. We don't know, over 50%. And less than 2% of genome is coding. So most of the portion of the DNA is the portion which is not coding for anything. Only less than 2% of the genome is coding. Large portion of genome consists of repetitive sequences. Large portion of genome means in the long fragment of DNA, we find many portions where there are repetitive sequences. The sequences are repeating again and again in the large portion of the fragment. Then repetitive sequences have no coding function. They are not coding for anything. They are repeated over 100 to 1,000 times. So one sequence repeated it for 100 times. One sequence repeated it for 1,000 times. So these repetitive sequences we find, and there are large portion of genome which is consisting of these repetitive sequences. They may have a role in evolution because they do not have any role in coding. So, but they may have a role in evolution, chromosome structure, and dynamics. Now, chromosomes with most genes. The number one chromosome of human being is having 2,968 base pairs. The sequence of chromosome 1 was completed only in May 2006. The project, the Human Genome Project, was completed. Everything except chromosome 1 was completed in 2003. But the chromosome number 1, which is having the most genes, many genes are present. The largest number of genes are present on chromosome 1. That was completed in May 2006, and this was the last of 24 chromosomes. What are the 24 chromosomes? 22 are the autosomes, then X and Y. So this was the last of 24 chromosomes, which was the sequence was formed. Now, chromosomes with fewest genes are chromosome Y. Y chromosome is having the few number of genes, only 231 genes are there on chromosome Y. Now, SNPs. What are SNPs? Single nucleotide polymorphism. Single nucleotide polymorphism occur at about 1.4 million locations in human DNA. Now, what is single nucleotide polymorphism? Polymorphism means poly means many, and morphism means morphology, means different structures. So, because of the single nucleotide, the structural changes are there, and these portions are occurring at about 1.4 million locations in human DNA, and they are called SNPs. So they are believed to have significance in explaining diseases and evolutionary history of human beings. So these are helping in finding out the evolutionary history of human being and explaining the significance, their significance in the explanation of diseases. So they all about Human Genome Project.